We are being recorded as of now. And because of that, we are going to make sure we maintain confidentiality. We will have some Q&A. If you have questions you'd like to ask, please don't raise your Zoom hand. We won't be able to call on you, but please just drop a question into the chat box, or you can email me, tim.nollen, N-O-L-L-E-N, @macquarie.com. And in either case, I can read that question off anonymously. The format here will be a brief presentation on Stagwell that JT will lead off. He'll hand it off to Anna and Piotr, and then I'll do a bit of a moderated discussion on some important and interesting topics here. So with that, JT, it's yours.
Thanks very much, Tim. Pleasure. Good day, everybody. Thank you for your time today. Yes, I will briefly introduce the business and then hand off to the experts, Piotr and Anna, to just provide some context around trends, and then delighted to get into more of a debate. So if you just move on, I'll just briefly introduce myself. My name's James Townsend. I'm the global CEO of the Stagwell Media Network and our global flagship media agency, Assembly. I've worked across the spectrum of marketing services agencies throughout my career, so from brand advertising and strategy all the way through now to digital sort of data and tech businesses, and principally presiding over the connected solutions business that is the Stagwell Media Network. We number about 5,000 people now, and very much digitally led network, but not limited in that fashion, and manage around $5 billion worth of investments for our clients. Over to you, Anna.
Yes. Hi, hello. Lovely to be with you. My name is Anna Pancyzk, and I'm the chairwoman of the supervisory board of Brand New Galaxy. And what can I say? I've been to that industry for over 20 years right now, and since I remember, it was all about, business transformation, including business automation and data and media. So I've started my career into advertising. That was the time when I had a chance to meet Kevin Roberts and learn a lot about love marks and US market. And then through my next chapter of my career, I was working for networks like Pancyzk or WPP, but right now proud to be part of Stagwell Group. And my main thing is to make sure that whenever we have a great business opportunity, we look into it and we do our best to find the best solution. So this is my area of interest, and I've been working for advertising agencies and then media houses. So I, did my journey from advertising through media, data, technology, to be able to really understand, the whole path of that our customers take or get on when they want to really get something, buy something, or learn something. So here we are today. Thank you.
Super. Thanks, Anna. I'm also really happy to be here. My name is Piotr Morkowski. I'm a CEO of Brand New Galaxy. And for the last 20 years, I had huge privilege and a lot of fun digitalizing world that is all around me. I was working for top global clients like P&G, Microsoft, Coty, GSK, Visa, and many others, helping them to transform their businesses. I worked both in my own agencies. I found the first one when I was studying, but also in holding companies, where as a part of Publicis lead team, I was leading a digital transformation for Satis and then launching a Publicis commerce practice back years ago. And 5 years ago, we founded Brand New Galaxy because basically we knew after all the years spent with holding companies that none of them basically is able to fully transform and really adapt to the reality that is changing so quickly and the environment that is changing so dramatically. And now together with Stagwell, who is one of the very few companies that has both elements that are required to be a part of this picture. So on the one hand, this bravery of and challenger mode that is adequate to the times we are living in, but on the other hand, also the scale that is required to fulfill the most important needs of global clients. We are all together, and I will be really happy to tell you more about P&G and drive you through some trends we believe are critical for this part of the business.
Very good, thank you. I'll race through a couple of points of context. Just a very broad beginning, and this is a survey done with over 100 CMOs, done by a consultant that works in our sector, managing many of the large global pitches. And these are the matchmakers that really choreograph those competitions with the biggest brands in the world. And what you see here is a number of data points which tell us a couple of things. Almost all of our clients are in some form of change management, be that data, technology, or digital, or all three. So digitizing their business, as Piotr said. And also, almost all of those clients are looking to commit more to less partners. So some form of consolidation. So very much our strategy at Stagwell is to provide connected solutions in answer to that. So the mirror image of a consolidating client community is an integrated proposition. And we're doing that at a number of levels through the holding company. In terms of giving you a quick picture of our business, if you move to the next chart, what you see is really, this is the Stagwell Media Network. Stagwell as a holding company is now just north of 13,000 people. We have about 70 agencies and are in more than 34 countries around the world. So as Piotr said, we're a scaled and scaling business. What we find when we go down a level into the media network, which is about 5,000 people, so a significant portion of the organization, is we started the media network a year ago, and as the name suggests, we wanted to start with media because we found that to be a very strong foundation, recurring revenue, retainers, and also a very clear proximity of the audience, the consumer that our clients are seeking to motivate. Delighted that Brand New Galaxy chose to join the organization at the start of the year, and really that allowed us to talk about media and commerce. And the relationship between those two pieces is absolutely essential for modern marketeers. It's a very adjacent position, so connections and then converting that to growth. And then finally, in our recent earnings call in Q2, we talked about bringing creative brands, creative agencies into the group so we can offer that full service answer to a consolidating client community. If you just move on one more chart, what we're also seeing is that's bearing sort of early fruit in terms of the strategy of being able to offer a greater proximity of products and services to clients really is something they're responding well to. So these are scaled clients in our organization that start from one place or maybe start as an AOR, an agency of record relationship, but then open up to wider services as they seek to simplify their engagements with partners and suppliers. So very, very, very broad context to start with, but that's a headline about Stagwell. As Piotr says, we're sort of challenger to the status quo, I think, and there seems to be an appetite for that in our market. I'll hand off to Anna and Piotr to talk about broad trends, and then we can certainly, Tim, keen to get into conversation with you. So I suggest we race through our deck.
Yes, super. So I guess you may not have heard about Brand New Galaxy, but at the same time, we are currently one of the biggest and most experienced e-commerce agencies globally. We believe that we are the first truly global e-commerce partner for global brands. And we can do it using technology and providing proper talents and processes on something which is critical, and as James mentioned, for most of our clients. We have over 600 people currently based in Poland, Netherlands, MIA, and in Seattle, and we are still expanding, opening pretty soon in New York and in Singapore. We work with over 300 retailers globally. We grow really nicely above the market, and we speak all the languages, and we have people from all over the world, which is critical because at the end, if you think about e-commerce and if you think about really modern strategies, they have to come from local to global and all the way back, and not only be pushed from a global teams to the local markets, because it doesn't work anymore, basically. So if we can move to the next slide, if I can tell you a few more things in terms of our general approach and the offering. So the key element of our offering is the end-to-end solution. And what we understand by end-to-end solution, it means that we are providing clients with the full scope of services, including both the consultancy and the final execution. So from consultancy to final execution of all the assets and all the tactics and all the strategies that we proposed to the client on a top global level. So basically we are creating the one source of truth, and we are creating the one and we are being one responsible partner for the entire execution of e-commerce strategy for those clients. So from the very beginning, as we found BNG, we were born global. So we were addressing this need of global clients to not only to have beautiful slides, but also to have amazing strategic slides that are followed up with execution and then understanding whether this execution works. We have e-commerce at heart. It means that we work in e-commerce, but we are touching the full scope of it, including technology, including retail media, including the development, including the localization and all the processes that are inside. We are highly technology focused, like the complexity of e-com, the amount of platforms that are involved. It requires full automation of processes. It's really impossible to manage it without a really strong technological background and a lot of proprietary tools that you can use. And we are really sales driven. So we are exactly responsible for final sales that clients are deliver in their e-commerce channel and also beyond. We work for top global brands on global and regional assignments. Among the biggest ones, you can see it's Coty, Bayer, P&G, and a lot of huge wins that are coming one by one. So we are really, really proud of it. And we also see that the fact that we've managed to grow to such a scale with such a clients, with such a results in 5 years only, it proves that there is a huge need and we are addressing really important insight for global organizations. If we move to the next, it's my final slide for introduction. And this is something that I show everyone in the very beginning when we talk about e-commerce. It's the biggest transformation that has happened on this market during last couple of years actually is the fact that e-commerce moved from nice to have into must have. So this business is not anymore like a small percent of the sales, which is like irrelevant from the perspective of biggest brands. No, it's currently globally almost 20% of global sales, and in many categories it's even higher. In terms of the consumers, it's not anymore the place where you buy goods. It's basically the way of living. It's a part of your daily routine. It's the way how you structure your entire life. So e-com is touching all different aspects, from browsing and searching the product and recommending which is right, which is wrong, like making daily routine decisions. And so that's really a part of the of the daily life of our consumers, millions of consumers globally. For agencies, it's also mean a tremendous shift, and this shift is driven also by the fact that trade budgets, which are significant part of marketing spendings, are moving from trade to advertisers, the advertising agencies that are able, and e-commerce agencies like us. So it basically changed a bit a way the game is played. So it's not only the source of revenue coming from the growth of marketing budgets, but it's also coming from the movement within those budgets. And you can see that holdings are trying to address this, and there are huge investments. Yes, we have been acquired by Stagwell. We have examples of Piotr by Pancyzk and many others. So you can feel this change. I believe we are the only ones that are able not only to buy something, but also to integrate it properly. And after already half a year almost at Stagwell, I can confirm that this was really amazing decision, and we can feel the same vibe, and we move together really quickly. So that was a short intro in terms of what we do, and I understand, Tim, that you will follow up with
Okay, I was waiting for you, Anna. I thought you had something to say, but I can jump in. Great.
Not
Thank you
yet.
so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
excellent. Thanks. So I'll do some questions here. Please, once again, if you have questions you'd like to ask anybody attending here, please drop it into the chat box or send me an email, tim.nolan@macquarie.com, and I can read those out anonymously. So Piotr, you had one number on your one of your prior slides there, which I jotted down, $5 trillion of global e-commerce sales in 2021. Maybe could you break that down a bit for us? Because we often hear about retail media spending. And maybe if you could just sort of lay the land for us in terms of what is e-commerce marketing, what is retail media as part of that? And within that, what might be on-site versus off-site retail media?
Okay, so basically, you know, if first of all, in terms of this number, it's really interesting because if you think about the scale of retail and how it's changing, it's even growing faster than was expected. So this 5 trillion is basically something that I took from the really recent eMarketer update, because previous one was predicting that it will be only 4.7 and it's actually 5.2. So it's growing even quicker than expected and will continue to stabilize and grow on a really nice pace. When it comes to ad spendings and spendings in retail connected with the e-com, they are growing even faster than the pace of the growth of e-com. They are growing over 50% year to year between 21st and 20th. And they will continue to grow around 25% for the next 3 years. As mentioned, there are like 2 main categories in this regard. One of this, it's a retail media. So basically, the money that clients are spending on advertising on the media assets within the e-retailers, because we have to understand that e-retail is not anymore just a place where we buy things. It's a place where you advertise things. It's a place where people are looking for information. Amazon is the biggest search engine. It's driving a lot of ripple effect. Like if you want to be present and you want to connect with your consumers across the entire path to purchase, you basically have to invest in this part. And the other part is everything that happens within the retailers, meaning the entire content that is created there, like all the management activations, all the things that you can do with retailers in a bit similar way, but more diverse than you used to do it with retailers in a classical merchandising approach. And on top of that, like, let's please bear in mind that we have different types of e-retail. So it's a different situation with D2C platforms. It's a bit different situation with marketplaces and different with brick and clicks. So at the end, we have an extremely complex setup, which is driving a lot of investments. And this growth, why this growth is bigger than the category overall? It's driven by 2 simple facts. So first of all, we have to acknowledge that the brands, the biggest advertisers and the biggest producers, they are not yet, they are under represented in e-com because a lot of shelf is taken by digital native brands, and all the clients we have, they are challenged by small players across different markets that have like this agility and the way to move really quickly to the market. And just to give you like a number in perspective, if we take the total cosmetics category in US, is like top 20 manufacturers that offline holds over 96% of the offline shelf. In e-commerce, they have only 14% of the shelf. So it's unbelievable. So they, and this underrepresentation is driven by the fact that the volumes that were in e-com were really smaller and it was underinvested. So what is currently happening is, and will continue to happen, is the additional investments that are taken by those marketeers to grow the scale and to get to the position that they well deserve.
So I want to get to some of the more details about what you guys do, but one other question I wanted to ask about the market sort of size and growth. And actually, there's a question that's come in which actually fits in to this, so I'll just ask it right now. I saw some third-party estimates of U.S. retail media ad spending being up 30% plus this year and up threefold since 2019. And so that number is 41 billion. This year, growing by another third or so by 2024. The question that's come in is, I think related to this, what would the size of the retail media market be excluding Amazon going forward? And if there's not a number in mind, maybe if you could just talk to us in terms of, what is, a lot of this we know is Amazon, but a lot of the other retailers, Walmart and Target and all these other retailers have been very aggressively pursuing their retail media businesses. So what is, not quantitatively, what is the qualitative growth of the non-Amazon market?
Before I will answer that, let's please also understand one really important component. Is the reason why Amazon was and is such strong in this regard and is representing such a huge part of the market is driven by their digital, the fact that they have technological capability to run campaigns. So we are a bit in a situation where the actual growth of the market and the actual demand from clients to run their campaigns across the retail is huge, is really massive. And when we observe this growth, we can see two elements, like the growth of the market, but also the fact that other platforms are catching up with Amazon. And the problem with predicting this is that basically it's hard to predict how quickly they will get to the point where they will be able to offer to advertisers their marketing space. So from our perspective, it's like currently, I would say that even less than 50% of the market has proper capabilities to service clients on the level that Amazon is servicing. So I would say it's at least half of underrepresentation in this regard. And in terms of like the volumes between each other, I think they are clearly driven by the sales volume. So the way how trade budgets are organized, they are always linked with the volumes of sales. So I would say that the rate would be the same as the split of revenue between those platforms, and we can go into details like brick and clicks and everything. But then within it, there is an underrepresentation of at least 50% on the platforms outside of Amazon.
I mean, just to build on that, Tim, in broad terms, if Amazon's got approaching 40% of the market, variety and proximity are also a good thing to an advertiser. So you look at people like Walmart, you look at people like Target, those are growing slightly faster than Amazon and provide, variety and proximity. Their infrastructure is, not competitive necessarily with Amazon yet, but certainly very, very capable. And that is something that is, meaningful for an advertiser looking to kind of, catch up, as Piotr described, to those SMEs that he said is sort of really kind of got to e-commerce first.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe just one more market question. I don't want to get more into what you guys do. How could you comment on how e-commerce sales and demand for marketing spending is trending now in a softer ad market? Now, put an asterisk next to that because we've had some mixed results from various companies that rely on advertising for their revenues this past reporting season. But if we assume that there's at least a slowdown, how does e-commerce well, first of all, e-commerce purchasing trends progress, and then how does e-commerce marketing trends progress?
Okay, so definitely, and also all the predictions that we read, and also all the data from Nielsen, America, etc., they clearly predict that e-commerce will continue to grow on a scale at least in terms of advertising spendings, at least 20%. Of course, it may temporarily slow down due to recession and the space of growth may be smaller, but at the same time, it's like we are not, there's no chance of decline. So at the end, like if you think about e-com, it's still a growth game in those challenging times. So it will continue to be growing. And you know, I'm leading e-com companies for last 20 years, and I went through 3 global crises. And in each of those crises, the scheme was exactly the same. So in the beginning, there was a slight slowdown, but then after like a brief moment of uncertainty, it was growing even quicker than in prosperous times. Because at the end, if we think about e-com, it's a channel which is, it's cheaper to drive sales, it's more effective, it's more measurable, it has all the aspects, and it has flexibility in spendings. Like there are all the aspects that are driving the growth even while the market is going down. So
I think the point you make there, Piotr, around measurability in a market where clients maybe have some questions of confidence, you know, channels, environments, measurable media, you know, direct links to cause and effect of sales and growth are the kind of channels that we see growing. And that's something that we've been very cognizant of as we've built Stagwell, you know, measurable media, measurable, you know, sales driving agendas. That's sort of what we see gets a disproportionate amount of investment in a finite world in